Mae Renfroe. Hey, so yep, doing another live. This is the way I'm doing my videos on my YouTube channel now because it takes up less space on my phone. I can just go and record when I have time and just um it's there on YouTube. I don't have to do any editing, so it's an advantage for me that way too. So I didn't announce this YouTube video so that I was gonna go live, so I may not have anyone come on, but on the other hand, I might. So when you come on, welcome to this one. Last time I did announce that I was doing it at a certain time, and I didn't really have any, one or two people come on at that time either. So I didn't bother. I just, when I have time, I'm a busy mom, and so I just kind of have to do it on my own time, my own schedule, and I know that anybody will just catch it later. So yes, here I am. Welcome to this video, and I am talking about motherhood, mothering, all things mother, all things mothering today. The joys and challenges of mothering, and I'm going to be talking more of that related to mothers of large families because I am a mother of a large family. I'm a mother of 10, so it's more maybe geared to that. But I think any mom of any amount of children, there'll be nuggets in here and things that you can relate to and kind of take away and use and benefit from. So it's kind of just for all mothers, but maybe it's more geared for mothers of large families because that's where I am now. But obviously, I started out with one child and then two and then three until here we are with 10. So yeah, that's who I am. If you haven't been following along on my YouTube channel, I'm a mom of 10. My youngest is 7 months. He's teething and he's crawling and he's getting into stuff. Can't put him on the floor long. He wants to, get put stuff in his mouth. So that's the stage he's at, that in teething, fussing, up at night, nursing. That's where we are there. And then our oldest is 22 and he's off on his own working at a Bible camp right now. And he comes and goes, at home to visit, but mostly that's where he is. And then all the ages down from there. So I'm going to go ahead and say the ages so you can kind of see where I am in the middle of my mothering, and then I'll just start kind of explaining some, challenges and the joys of mothering. And there's challenges and joys whether you have one child, two children, three children, two or three. There's always challenges and there's always joys. There's always joys. There's always rewards, and in your mothering. Yes, but this is where I am. So I'll explain all the ages in between the 22 and 7 months. And then I do have notes and stuff that I'm going by. Notes. I've got scripture I want to read, so I do got notes. Sometimes I almost do better when I don't have notes, don't have a script, but I just kind of got, stuff just in case I kind of lose my thought. And I'm not trying not to make this one too long, so I may do a part two of the joys and challenges of mothers because there's really a lot of aspects and things to talk about in that. And I'll really, really be hitting that on it because there's just challenges, in mothering on so many levels of when you've got homeschooling in the mix of it, when you've got all the ages, when you've got, your itty bitties is still keeping you up at night, and then your older teens that are all maybe keeping you up at night too, talking to you about things and stuff, and you got to be there at all places and spaces, and for the older ones, you got to be there for the little ones, and so that's the challenges. Okay, so I'm sorry, back to my 10 children. Okay, my oldest, yeah, like I said, is 22. Then the one next to him would be 20, and he's the one that has passed away. So often on here, I've talked about our son Clayton losing him and just the things with that and the hope that God's gave me since. So yeah, that's Clayton. He would have been 20, and then Sam is 17, almost 18. His birthday is about a week away. A week away. His birthday is gonna be turning 18. Okay, and then underneath I've got Sarah 15. Yeah, he should be 16 this summer. And 13. Yeah, then 11. Be 12 later this summer. And then Daniel is 8, almost 9. And then Becca is just turned 6. Faith, he's 4, will be 5 in the spring. No, she's 3, she'll be 4. Okay, I knew there wasn't that much gap between my baby and then my baby, 7 months old. So yeah, just all the ages, right? I'm schooling, so just right in the thick of it. And it is a challenge, I'll have to tell you, to have, like explained, all ages where you want to be there present with your teens and making of course, and just making sure that you're available emotionally, physically, just answering, their questions and things that they're going through. As they're figuring out what they want to do with life, what direction, things that they want to do, and maybe more education they want to pursue, or or not, or getting into work, and all of these things and questions, and stuff, even if they're good behaved teens and stuff, is still just issue, just things, there always is. And yeah, so that's where maybe I'll have to look at my notes here for a second. Okay, so what I was gonna say, I did a video a while back. You could look for it by, I think, what would be the title of that one? Encouragement for mothers of 2 or 3 children. And what that is focusing on is mothers of 2 or 3 that possibly would like to have more, but they're like, oh, I can hardly do this with 2 or 3 children. They're all little, and it's just hard. And I've been there. Those are harder days. Those are the hardest days of my mothering, is with those first ones that are all little, all close together, fairly close, even if it's a year or two in between them. Still, your bigger one of the 3, or even if it's 4, still can be fairly young. And so that you're doing pretty much all, you don't have your much for help. Everywhere you go, you're going to have to take them, of course, unless daddy's home to watch them. There isn't the older ones that can actually take care of some siblings at home. And so I've been there, and it is hard. And you can may think, oh my goodness, how can I do this with 2 or 3 children? I mean, how does mothers do this with many? If I'm struggling with 2 or 3, it gets easier though. And so that's what that video is. That some things get easier, some things there's more laundry to do, there's more dishes to do, there's more cooking to do. Okay, so all these, there's more kids to school, and there's more attitudes and issues and stuff to deal with. But in a way, certain things get easier. So that's what I focused on. That one was just like, hang in there, moms. You can get past this stage, and this ages of your 2 and 3 being 8 children being little, and it will get easier if you want more and you feel like that's what he wants for you, and you're wanting that. Hang in there. It will get easier. And even if you are stopping at just a few children, or sometimes mothers just are unable, miscarriages and things, and infertility and issues, and oh, that's just so many challenges there when we walk through years of miscarriages, or years of unable to have children. And um, I haven't walked through that. Miscarriages, yes, but not been able to, have children in years of infertility. But I know how hard that must be, and um, yeah, a lot of challenges in that, and just to be able to keep the faith and keep trusting that God knows best, and that He has a plan and a purpose in that. So, okay, so if you're wanting to have more, or if that's at 2 3, just that you will get past that, and that's what that video is about. That it will get easier. You'll have more help. And that was my hardest years in homeschooling. In the early years with a few children was my hardest years of homeschooling. I have to admit, it really was. One of the reasons is that I just started being a little more relaxed in my homeschooling. I mean, my homeschooling wasn't looking exactly like a classroom anymore. I did realize there's a lot of life learning that you can do to help, and not just buy the book and make sure that every page is done, every question answered, everything by the books. But um, there's a lot of other ways of learning too, and stuff, to make your load easier, and that they're still learning what they need to learn. But that's probably something for another time. I could talk about a whole video just on homeschooling. I've done some of those. You can look up my tips on homeschooling. um okay. Yeah, so the early years, why they're hardest, because all of that really falls on you. All the childcare, all the meals, all the cleaning, all the errands, all the laundry. If your husband helps, and you have a spouse that is helping you with that, of course, they can help when he's home in the evenings. But a lot of that, so much of that falls on you. But once your children get older, they're helping with the laundry and the meals and the cleaning and the. I still do a lot of the meals and the planning on my own. I just get them to help. I plan the meal, and I'm like, you help with this, peel this, chop this, stir this, uh, defrost this, put this vegetable on. Here's a box, follow the directions on this, And so I do that with my children a lot. But, or you guys want a dessert, then can you come up with a dessert and make it, and I'll just be here to help you. Okay, so all those things can help. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, so I just want to say, just so much of that responsibility falls on us. So even then, when they do get older, to help though. So um, I'll have to say one of the things that's been, I mean, hard. I've been a mother now for, I'm 43. My oldest is 22. So for 22 years, you have different seasons in mothering. For 22 years, off and on, I've had the season of nursing the babies, carrying a heavy car seat around, fussing babies, trying to keep a conversation. You've got a little one that you're trying oh, the joys of mothering. I'll be like, well, I remember at different, someone's else, or even especially my mom's will be over there visiting, even at her house where she's a mother of 9 and all, she knows I'd be like, well, I guess I've got to leave. I can't even carry a conversation. This little one is fussing. And so it's can be frustrating in that. But what did I write here on the back of this? Yeah, so we're going to be in and out of these different seasons when we keep having children over the years. Some mothers maybe just have, the children at so many years and then so many 5 or 6 years, you're kind of done with it. Already by 5 or 6 years, they're already done with the nursing, with the heavy car seats, with the little fussy ones, whatever. And they're on to this next level, next season of their mothering. For me, it stretched over years. Many of us, it's stretching over years and years because that's kind of the choice we made. That's how we felt. God, put that on our heart to do so. And so we're doing it. And so we just really have to make the most of it. And there can be extremely hard days, but we need to find the joy in the journey. So if you can find the joy in the journey, knowing what you're doing is going to be rewarded, that what you're doing is a high calling that is worth all your time and effort. And so I guess just to really pour yourself into it. I'm going to pause and read a scripture. I just think that's a good time to do that. I'm not going to read the one that says to be fruitful and multiply, but Deuteronomy chapter 6, kind of our role as parents, starting at verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in thy heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk of them when thou sittest in thine house, and when thou walkest by the way, when thou liest down, and when thou risest up. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be as frontlets between the eyes. And thou shalt write them upon the posts of thy house and on thy gates. So that's, our responsibilities, be teaching our children about God. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children. Thou shalt talk of them when thou sittest down at the house, when they walkest by the way. So that is one of our, it's our most important real and responsibility, is teaching them about God and the things of God, and giving them Jesus, giving them the gospel. And so yeah, that's a big challenge right there, just to but that's our most important thing. So it is so worth it. All the struggles and all the um right there, and that we have such a big role to play. I could go so many different directions with this now that I read that, so there's another thing I just thought of. That's why we have to be careful what we allow into our homes, and take, weed out the things that's not of God, not pursuing that goal that we just read about teaching our children, the things of God. Like on a regular ongoing basis, there's some things in our homes that we can allow, be it books, movies, music, etc., that just does not fill that is not pointing them up, does not. So we need to kind of weed those things out, so that I think our role then can be easier when we're putting in just all godly stuff and watching what's coming into our house. Then that responsibility of teaching them these the things of God is about all they're getting, so that makes it easier. But we have quite a responsibility that way. So I always encourage mothers in that direction. Just kind of watch what they're watching, watch what's coming into your home. You be the you guard your gate of your home, and what's going into their minds and their hearts, and helping to keep them on the straight and narrow. um, one of the biggest challenges is not the work, okay, but it's just issues, attitudes, late nights, up in the night. And then I've got written here, and questions about with our teens. When our teens are growing and changing and figuring out what they want to do in life, or go in life, or what for work, higher education, boyfriend, girlfriend issues, etc. That's the hardest work, I think, is not that's the hardest challenge, is not the physical work in that way, but um especially when you're getting sleepless nights and stuff, and just, you know, all these things that we have to deal with as a mother, all these issues. um but we have our husband to help, to, you know, with these issues, and so needs to be unity, teamwork for sure, as much as we can in those areas, and lighten the load, and trying to be all there for the moment. That's one encouragement I just give in the moment. I know it's hard when we mothers are know how to multitask, right? If you're a mother of very many children, even a few children, you know how to multitask, get this going, this go. You've got, you know, but then sometimes there's times when you just gotta give them your undivided attention. Just set everything aside, your phone especially. I have felt bad so many times. My children will come talk to me. See, when I lay down, I'm nursing the baby. I feel like that is kind of my time. So my phone, or if a book, I'm my phone, and I'm checking messages. And usually it's all been a business stuff. I'm, you know, checking messages, sending messages, email, whatever, posting on my grief group, on my, you know, sharing snippets of wisdom, encouragement. And so I'm doing this, but my child, you know, children come along at the same time, and they're wanting my attention. And so, yeah, just, we have to just, you know, give them your undivided attention, and time to just, you know, there's a time to multitask, there's a time not to multitask. So we gotta have wisdom to know the difference. Wisdom when, just to make sure that we're giving them that time, and so they're, by example, seeing how to do the same for their brothers and sisters. Because I see the brothers and sisters will come up to the older ones and wanting to show them some, look at the drawing I just did, look at my drawing, look at this I just made. And that older one is the preoccupied, maybe they are, you know, on a screen, on a device, or, but we really limit that. But anyway, maybe they are at the time, or they're just doing their own thing, whether it might be, maybe they're doing their own drawing, and they're just not paying attention to this child, and they barely look, oh yeah, that's good. I'm like, no, no, take the time to give that child, you know, your sibling, some attention. So then we're training that to our children to be in the moment, and, you know, treat others the way we want to be treated. I already hit on one of the challenges of miscarriages, walking through that. Um, and then, if you were prodigal children, anyone that has, that is such a challenge, and can definitely happen in, you know, small homes, big homes. You're always going to end up with, you know, a child or two that is just really, really hard when in their teens, that are fighting the reins or whatever, you know. And if they haven't totally committed their life to follow Jesus, there's just going to be things. So that's one of the challenges too. I see I have someone on. Just welcome, and I'm talking all things mothering, all things mothering, all things about motherhood, and the joys and challenges of mothering, whether you've got a big family like myself, a family, I've got 10 children, or just a few. This is just encouraging mothers in their role, and yeah, the challenges and joys that come along with it. Another big challenge, and was for us, and a lot of families walk through child loss, like miscarriage is child loss. I'm not saying it's different, but it's still child loss. Whether it's we lose before the baby is born, or after our baby's born, when they're older, whatever. It's all child loss. Our so besides miscarriages, we lost our 14-year-old son. As I mentioned, when I started this, he'd be 20 now, and he was 14 at the time. That was a challenge to a lot of our children. It's really affected them, I think, in different ways. Like some more than others, I can see that it's affected them, and in us, and it's grew us. That's one thing why I wanted to talk about the challenges in mothering. That there's some things that you I've learned and grown in my faith in God and my spiritual walk, that I would have never grown if I hadn't been a mother of all these children. I know not everyone is blessed, you know, with just their own children, but they adopt, of course, and or just being a mother to people in the community, just reaching out to whoever they can be, you know, like a mother figure to. And um and I, I've grown immensely in my faith, in my spiritual walk. The things, and walking through child loss, walking through miscarriages, when you have to just really reach out, you know, to God, and just say, God, I can't do this on my own. Why did this happen? And, you know, you'll never know why, right? These things happen, why God allows it. That we grow in our faith in God. When we question, we get in the Word more. When we question, we get on our knees more. We cry out more. We're desperate to learn more. We're like, what? what is going on? God, I need you. I need your help. I need your strength to make it through. And so these things just grow us. And so the challenges of motherhood, we need to really embrace them. I know it's hard, but when we embrace the challenges and the pain and the sorrow that comes with being a mother and embrace them and just kind of roll with them, go with them, and grow in them, if we could. I'm just looking at my notes and to see kind of hit on most things. I can do a second video so I can cover more because I don't want to make this too long. I might go into certain, I might just do another one on homeschooling, and some other, issues of and challenges that we can face, and just to give encouragement in that specific area. um, we have a responsibility of teaching them spiritual, as I said, spiritually, feeding them spiritually, feeding them physically, and for their education. And that is a huge responsibility. Um, for we're homeschooling, or for anyone, if your kids are go to school, but it's a huge responsibility. So all of these is a challenge, but God has created us for hard works, right? He's created us for this. He's given us the children. He's equipped us with what we need uh, to carry that, to do that load, and we need to really seek him for wisdom. It says, if any of us lack wisdom, ask him. Yes, we we lack wisdom. So continually asking God for wisdom, continually getting in his word, and having a community of support. Homeschool, there's lots of homeschool groups if you're a homeschool mama, but if you're not, there's other groups, Facebook groups, in-person groups that you can get. And that's what I mentioned in my other video too. I mentioned that in the video with the mother, for encouraging moms of 2 or 3 children, was to find you a community, whether that be Facebook groups, online groups, in person, and just to really ask them questions, and they're there to help you. I see a lot of questions coming through there on different of those groups, and I reply when it's something I can speak on. If I can speak on it, I will. If not, I see others replying to that, and it's a big help to have that. You're not parenting alone. You're not parenting alone at all. You have a lot of support that way. If you don't have family support, your parents, grandparents, support, that you have a body online. And so it's in good Christian, people, in the most cases. So I have just written down here, some of the hardest things in life are the most rewarding. Some of the hardest things in life are the most rewarding. So yes, mothering is very, very hard, very, very time consuming, but it's those things that's the most rewarding. There's a little saying I've heard that a job worth doing is worth doing well. And I feel like mothering is one of those jobs, right? It's worth doing well. So, my encouragement is, don't quit, don't give up. Don't seek the easy road. Don't seek the easy road in the parenting. There's so many things that we can, do to, and I don't want to, there is time for just letting children, like, if you're watching something makes, we can go do our work with, it gives us a little bit of respite, or different things. You can do that, and that's really helpful. There's lots of good inspirational stuff, and for them to be able to watch, to give you a break at different times. And so definitely follow on those resources, but don't, I guess, I grew up without a TV in my home, and so I really know that there's so much on there that's just not healthy for them. So even though it can be entertaining and it'll keep them busy and focused for a long time, it cannot be the healthiest for them. So I'm trying to say that in a nice way as possible here, but okay. I think I need to get ready to sign off here on this. But when you have drivers, that's a new challenge. I don't like having someone drive the vehicle for me if they're not experienced driver. I don't feel comfortable. So I have a really hard time having my teen drive me. Okay, so I've really helped one. My oldest son, I really did a lot of that with him. I went with him to get his test. Then my other son, when he passed away, well, he's only 14, so kind of in the back when I took him hunting the year before he passed away, and so just crowing across the fields, he would drive for me sometimes, and navigate our way back out from this trail going through the fields, and he would do that, and I didn't mind. That our next son, I was just like, I just don't want to do this, and now I've got a daughter, 15-year-old daughter, that is like anxious, like I can't wait, I'm gonna be able to start learning, and I'm like, not with me. Oh man. That's scary, right? So it's like all these challenges, and you got someone that's, suddenly someone is driving you, and then they're actually going out on their own now. And it's all these challenges. Boy, that's why we got gray hair, right, mamas? That's why we got gray hair. That's why we're down on our knees more praying. Um, um, Praying God's covering and protection over our children. And so that I just want to, as I close this, just encourage uh, you to just praying for your children. One thing that I did that made it easier when you got several children, you could just do them as a clump sum too. But I started praying. That was back when how many did I have? Because I was praying one for one day. I thought I did it when I was 8. I had 8 children. I guess I had just lost maybe Clayton at the time. So when I started doing that, even though I had him, I wasn't, praying for him every day. He's, passed up with the Lord in glory land. So was just praying for the other ones every day faithfully. But he started with my oldest on Sunday and ended with my last on Saturday Sabbath. And every morning when I would wake up, I would pray for that child for that day and every day. And then, of course, at night when I say my prayers as well, I just pray for the children, maybe more in general and everything. But that's the way you can pray for each child. Maybe do two uh, every morning with multiple children, and so that you're covering them continually in prayer. And just, as we're praying, going throughout the day, think of something you can pray for your children. It's praying is powerful. Don't ever underestimate the power of prayer. Especially if you have children that are walking in ways and in things that you know is not good for them, that is not healthy, that you're very concerned for their salvation or for their safety, get in prayer for sure. And it is very, very powerful. Sometimes we may have to be praying for on something to see the fruit of that, but it is powerful. I've heard so many stories. I can't share them here, now and here of praying mamas and their children have came back when they've been walking astray. And so, okay, I think this is pretty long. I read her wrap up. I guess one more thing, that we read the Bible together in the evenings as a family. We try to do every evening if possible. Read. And so we do that, and then I do the devotions. And I talk about that a lot on here. So, but if you miss that, so I do devotions after that too. I go in the room, and that gets me a bit late, and it's very time consuming. I go in there. Sometimes I'll be in the room up to at least 45 minutes or so, because when I do the girls' devotion and then go over and do the boys on, they share a big room, and they do the boys devotion, they're always talking to me about things too. And so then and things, when I do the devotion, if I'm using a book or an online devotion, I have something emailed to me for the girls right now, so I receive it in my email, and so I read it from there, and then they ask me questions on it. It brings up questions, and that's great. It's wonderful that you get to talk about things you might never normally talk about. They wouldn't just think of it, but when you're reading this devotion, brings up something, and they talk to me about it. And sometimes they get upset because, like, I'm in a hurry, I gotta go, I'm already late, I'm tired, you know and so maybe you just allow yourself more time. Get in the room earlier to do this if possible. Give you that yourself that time. Give yourself at least 30 to 45 minutes if you can for these devotions. It is worth your time. It is so worth your time to do that, and all the things that I'm able to teach with them. It's just amazing. For the boys, I read missionary stories. We're reading some really neat ones. Martin King Luther. What's some other ones in there? Uh, John John Wesley, Billy Sunday, and the other. Oh, I just can't think of the names, but there's so many of them. Good. Oh, like in our history, they're not just present day missionaries, but early, frontier missionaries, and they were so dedicated to the cause, to the Christ, to sharing the gospel, to the furtherance of the kingdom of God. It's just amazing how they laid down their life and just, followed um, what they knew God wanted them to do, and with all their heart, with all their passion, they go into these foreign countries and pretty much lay down their life and study their languages and interpret the Bible in those different languages and stuff for the people. And it is amazing. That's inspiring. I read those. I've been reading those to the children, and after I tell them, you can do this too. You can do this if you're committed to God and you love God enough. You're gonna love His people. You're gonna be willing to do this and trust God, and He will provide for your every need. That's what George Muller, I love that, with the orphanages, that he trusted the Lord for all his needs. You don't have to feel that you have to have, establish all this resources and bank account before you can go and be a missionary. God will provide, like he did then. Just trust him and have a love for him and for his people. So I knew that. So that's a good one. I want to encourage you in that as well. I could just go on and on. There's so many aspects of this, but I better close this one. And again, I'm glad you come to my channel. I'm glad you see this. If there's anything on here that you feel like someone else would benefit from, I talk about mothering stuff, homeschooling stuff, just kind of parenting stuff in general, spiritual insights. I share a lot of scripture and hope and encouragement for those walking through child loss or just any difficult thing in general. Just hope and encouragement to keep going, keep holding on to hope, keep praising God, and looking forward to the day that He comes to take His people home. So just that's what I'm all about here. So if that's something you feel that somebody been from, please share it. And I do speaking in person as well. So if that sounds like if you enjoyed stuff in here and see stuff that you would love for me to share in person to your ladies group, church group, post an event, however you want to, just send me a message, please. All right, take care and God bless.